Well, good evening. It's Christmas Eve, 2024. We're here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we're going to talk about memories at the Air Force Academy of freshman year and sophomore year, which were 4-degree and 3-degree years, because we have two people that experienced that a while ago and one person who's in the middle of it. So why don't you all, let's go oldest to youngest. Who's the oldest member of the long blue line here tonight?
I guess I win that distinction. I was in two
You gotta
different.
say your name.
My name's Tom Fryer. Was a member of the class of 63, the fifth class to go through the Air Force Academy. My dually year, I was in 4th Squadron, and then as the wing expanded, I moved to 5th Squadron, and I was there for my last 3 years. 4th Squadron had a reputation of being fighting fourth, and our third classmen were some of the nastiest ones in the wing, and my classmates dreaded coming through our squadron because they got slammed against the wall or had to do push-ups or whatever else. But
Okay, well, let's have everyone else introduce themselves. I'm Wes Fryer. I'm a member of the class of 1992. I was in Cadet Squadron 27 Thunderbirds as a freshman over in Saigon. And then I was in the Wolfpack as well for my upper class years. And who is our youngest member of the panel tonight?
I am the current cadet of the Air Force Academy. I'm in the class of 2027. My name is Rachel Fryer. Last year, in my freshman year, I was in Cadet Squadron 16, Chicken Hawks. And now I followed in their path, and I am in 5th Squadron, the Wolfpack.
All right, so what do we remember from in processing? Did you move plus at Lowry, or were you at the Hill?
so we were the first class to get 100% of our training at the perimeter site. The class ahead of us went through dually summer up in Denver at Lowry Air Force Base, and then started academics. But I remember the day of in processing. They let us off at the base of the rail, and that's about the time that the upperclassmen hit us, and there was a lot of shouting all summer.
And that was still the Bring Me Men ramp.
Yes.
So,
They changed it when you went there?
No, it was
Well, because
still...
you were still in the 90s, and they have women. And
Yeah.
it's still called Bring Me Men.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then
Well, and the superintendent, General Johnson, was one of the ones that got that changed. She was a captain when I was there, and they were fighting at that time to get that changed. So, oh gosh, one of the things I remember from the basic training was, well, my roommate was Chuck Elder, who was from Tennessee, and Chuck had scope. And I remember that one of the few things that we had to look forward to was at night when we would brush our teeth, we would enjoy some scope that Chuck had. Very, very small things. But of course, we got a lot of shots. Like, I think we got 4 or 5 different vaccines that day. And I remember, they got you on both arms, at the same time. And of course, you got your head shaved, and mostly a blur for sure. What do you remember, Rachel?
I think getting shots would make studying at attention really hurt, because you have to hold your contrails up by your face. But yeah, so I went through I-Day and basic training not last summer, but the summer before, last year. And I-Day was like the most anxious I think I've ever been in my life. Like, Dad flew with me to Colorado Springs, and I was in the hotel, and then we had the ice cream social the day before, and even just driving up and on the athletic fields and going into the Holiday Athletic Center, the hack, I was like shaking in my boots. And then I do it, and we didn't get shots, but we got our blood taken. And all leading up to getting in the cadet area, like when we're getting our blood taken by like enlisted Air Force, they're like, oh, like, we'll play you a song, like it's your last song you get or something. And I think I got like Queen or something, Don't Stop Me Now, like, I don't know. And then, yeah, the footprints, everything, it was kind of a blur, but just a really fast day. The worst part was we got our green duffel bags, and we had to carry them from Saigon to Vandenberg in our left hand in the hot sun, and we had to step it out and like walk really fast, but don't run. and don't leave a gap between the person in front of you, and they're yelling, and it was really stressful. And I was leading my group, and my bag broke, and but it was all right, and we got through it.
One thing that was different, like now cadets don't pull chins anymore, and like which is called a brace, which I guess they finally ruled that was hazing, but that was the first thing we learned. So shoulders back and down, get your chin in.
Yes.
Well, we don't do the chin thing, but they do show you how to be at the position of attention. And there's a lot of little things that they make you do. This chant. Whoa, it was called a reset. It's like my shoulders are up, 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 back, 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 down, down, down. My feet are at a 45-degree angle. My chin is up, my chest is out, and I am sounding off or something. And you just like yell that. And they used to make us, whenever we were going around a hallway, you have to, well, we only get to do facing movements. We never earned flanking movements. Flanking is like faster because you kind of just go and step and pivot. But facing movements, you have to like go, stop, turn, keep going. And then you're supposed to pin your hands at the side of your body, but we don't remember to do that. So everyone had to say, I pinned my hands every time you do a facing movement. It was so funny because we'd all yell it, and we can't like talk to each other. But we would do it as obnoxiously as possible, and it would make us all like laugh at each other, like, and break the position of tension. It was so fun.
I remember doing PT early in the morning down on the parade field, and they would have, watered the parade field, which I think was like wastewater or whatever. It's kind of nasty, and anyway, you get kind of wet. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember a lot of running, and and of course at altitude, my classmates that came from sea level, I mean, they were really sucking air there till for a couple weeks till they really got acclimated. And I've compared notes with Rachel, but I remember a lot of runs out to Cathedral Rock, and of course, if you were one of the ones that fell behind, you got the attention of the upperclassmen. But luckily, I was in pretty good shape. Plus, in high school, I'd run the miles, so I was in good shape for all that.
We rarely got to do. We didn't really do much PT, especially in First Beast. We had PT down at the athletic fields, and that was a time where we could kind of be more relaxed and be in our PT gear. And even the upperclassmen would run with us or kind of talk with us. It was a little more of a learning environment. And then when we go back, they'd quit that and yell again. But that's what we did. And then we didn't really, they could pull 2 PT cards a day or something, and you could do stuff in the quad. But yeah, and then in Jax we did some more. But we really didn't run that much. But getting adjusted to altitude and just going up the stairs was really hard.
Did you all do the obstacle course during First Beast? Because I think we did.
Second Beast because it's in Jax.
I think, well, unless they moved it, we did the obstacle course at the hill in First Beast, and then assault course is in Jax.
The obstacle course is in, the O course is in Jax Valley too. I don't know what year.
They might have moved it, but I mean, it used to just be down below the cadet area. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, that's what I remember too.
Weird. They must have moved.
Yeah.
There's a space. And
does he do any spirit missions during?
Funny you say that because usually no, except in Second Beast. I was in Demons, which Delta, it's just where 16 lined up to be, but our squadron did a spirit mission, and I think it was really our flight too. We were Demons Alpha, and they stole, I think, all of Demons guidons in the night and put them in one. We lived in these things called connexes, so it wasn't really a tent. It was a converted shipping container or something. And then they stole all the guidons, and then I think our upperclassmen were kind of proud of us because it's kind of funny. They have to come and tell us this is not acceptable. We cannot do this, but it's kind of funny to do that.
I don't think I went to the Flatiron to we were at that time, this is banned now, would put our sheets up there, and then you put your class number. I don't think we would do necessarily Beast, squadron letters or something, but I did some of those more in the fall. But one of the big things that happened to us was we all got Salmonella poisoning, and so they washed tuna, chicken salad or tuna fish or something, with like sewage pipes or wastewater pipes or something. Well, they wouldn't have been sewage pipes, but it was like wastewater pipes or wastewater hoses. And so literally hundreds, because my class was the largest. You were the largest class to ever enter because you were double the size, right?
Well, in those days, because that was before Saigon, and so the wing was much smaller. In fact, my first year, now there's 40 squatters. My first year there were 16, and then, like I say, I moved to a fifth squadron when we went to, I guess, 20, and then by the time I was a first classman or senior, we finally filled Vanderburg Hall with 24 squatters. And of course, like when you were there was 40 squatters. Of course, that was where they had this separate dormitory.
So we entered around 1,500 something cadets, and we graduated, I think, 1082, which I think might be the largest class to ever graduate.
Yeah, I think
So we were the largest class as far as numbers to ever graduate. We were the probably only one to get salmonella poison because
No, you are not.
Oh, you think some others
People
have done
do-
that?
Maybe like more people were.
I mean,
with-
hundreds are able. We were like all laying outside the cadet clinic. Like they couldn't even find spaces for us inside.
I went to the clinic a lot during basic. It was just a nice break. To get sick and go there and get tested for COVID and take a nap. But no, Mitchell Hall, like during the school year, is bad. Sometimes some people find like maggots in their food, and then sometimes the chicken stuff is undercooked and people get food poisoning. It happens.
Wow.
Never to me, but I know people.
Okay. Let's see. What else do we remember about?
Well, I would fast forward to between semesters. It was nice to finish the first semester. We didn't have we were not allowed to have stereos or
Radios either, right?
radios, anything. And then that started about the 1st of December. The upperclassmen, since our class was prohibited from going home, they started playing "There's No Place Like Home," like for the holidays.
So you were not allowed to go home for Christmas.
That's correct. Or "I'll Be Home for Christmas," and those songs still kind of haunt me to this day. So
Oh, after Parents' Weekend today, they play over the intercom, "I'll Be Home for Christmas," as everyone comes back to the dorm, and it's a bit more of that psychological, like,
Yeah.
it's going to be a long...
yeah.
So what do you remember about, because you all had your own wing staff and stuff, and you all had
Yes. We were king of the hills there for a couple weeks, calling all the shots. My parents, since my father owned a Rexall drugstore, and the Christmas season was a big time for them, so they did not come down till between Christmas and New Year's, but that was sure good to see them when they showed up. So
Now, did you get to see them in Arnold Hall, or how would that?
oh, and then we could get passes and go off. They were, I can't trying to remember the motel they were staying by, but we had a good time.
So, Rachel, do you remember going to the cadet store, and was that a big deal when you all got to do that for the first time, or no?
I don't know why they make such a big deal out of it, but yes, we went to the cadet store, and they had the web guy there to take pictures, and I smiled in my picture to send home to mom and dad.
That's a big difference for web guide.
Did you have web guide, Dad? You all
Had the internet, I'm
Coach
sure,
Ryan.
in 19. Because what year was that when you reported? Was that 59?
June 25th of 1959. Yeah.
So no radios, of course, no computers, slide rules.
Both slide rules. Yeah.
Never even seen a slide rule before.
Dad has one or two of them.
Yeah.
So what do you remember about transitioning to, summer programs, I guess, after freshman year? Rachel, we can start. You're fresh on the mind. What'd you do last summer?
I did. I started with break, so I came home for 3 weeks. And then I did jump, which is the free fall skydive program. And I made a video for the Air Force Academy Admissions Instagram. And that was fun. It was scary because Dad always told me about him getting to skydive, and I was like, I'll do it. And no, it was scary. But my jump instructor ended up, she's a first year senior, And she ended up being in my English class, so I got to see her more, and that was fun. So yeah, and then I did combat survival training, or we call it CST, which is the abbreviated kind of version of SEER. It's like survival, evasion, resistance, escape, which is like the Air Force's survival thing that my dad went through. But we just like go in Pinyon Canyon, the desert, and Colorado.
You were in the Southwest versus where we were in Sailor Park in the Northwest. So
Yeah.
you were in the desert environment.
Oh, and we did a water survival. Oh, it was so bad at Kettle Lake. I felt like I was drowning. Like, it was the worst day of my life. Like, we were in life rafts and everything.
But you guys didn't have to kill a rabbit and eat a rabbit.
I didn't, but they brought that back for I was in doing CST third period, but in the first half of third period, and then the people who went second half of third period got to do the rabbit, which was my friend, and she ate a raw rabbit heart.
Oh, I did not. Or suck out the eye.
Oh, people, yeah. That was Ace, my old roommate.
Dad, what do you remember doing after your first summer? Did you go with any field trips or trips?
Well, they had a 6 week visit of what they called the CONUS, the lower 48. We spent of the 6 weeks, we spent 4 weeks at Air Force bases, 1 week with the Army down at Fort Benning, Georgia, and then I was out in San Diego with the Navy for a week. They divided us up. Some of my classmates were actually on submarines and destroyers. I was lucky enough to be on a aircraft carrier, so we didn't bob up and down in the ocean like the destroyers and get seasick.
Were you there when they did flight operations to see the launches of aircraft and stuff?
Oh yeah,
Top Gun. Cool.
We went I don't know how far out to sea we went, but for a week basically we're on that aircraft carrier.
That made an impression.
They need to bring it back.
Did that make you want to go fly Navy?
No way.
So you didn't do,
And then I had leave, so it was in that the other summers it was divided into 3 periods, but ours was just the 2 periods, 3 weeks of leave, and then the 6 weeks touring the various bases and all that. So
then you go home to Powell for leave?
yes, yeah.
We were telling this story this weekend because we went to the Sullenberger Museum here in Charlotte, and they have a bunch of fixed wing and rotary wing aircraft to include whatever the Chinook helicopter with the twin rotors is. And that was a highlight for Siri for me, was because most people we were up at Sailor Park, which is northwest of the Academy in the Pike National Forest. And most people had to ride the bus back, which is like 3 hours because it went through the mountains on the west side and all the way down south, through whatever, what's Manitou, yeah, all that stuff. But sometimes people got picked up by the helicopters, and so that's the only time I've ever ridden in a 2-rotor Chinook helicopter, and they freaking dropped us off on the terrazzo. They landed in the middle of the terrazzo. We got off, went for a shower, and then went to eat at midnight.
That's amazing.
It was fantastic.
Nothing ever lands on the terrazzo now.
I've seen.
Actually, I correct that. There was a helicopter that landed on the terrazzo for Fox News.
Oh, and they did that.
Yeah.
The day of the cadet. That's cool. Okay, so let's talk about 3 degree year. Dad, what do you remember about being a 3 degree? Did you have jobs?
I don't really remember that. I just remember going to 5th Squadron, and remember my roommate Pat Chapman was from Ada, Oklahoma.
Really?
Didn't smoke, and I was smoking then.
Did you have to go outside, or could you smoke in your room?
You could smoke in your room, but even in the middle of the winter, he'd make me open my window, and it'd be, cold air coming in and me blowing smoke.
So you didn't have any majors then, right? Because everyone just had to be engineering or core, or what was the situation with academics?
Well, yeah, the majors didn't really even come into, I think, after we graduated. I mean, since I'd gone to the university, everybody graduated with a Bachelor of Science. Yeah, a straight BS, Bachelor of Science. But since I had gone to the University of Wyoming, I was able to get out of I didn't have to take chemistry because I'd taken out of Wyoming, and so I tested out of that. So I took physics as a dually with the red tags, the class ahead of us. So, but anyway, I had
Which was the hated training class.
yes. But anyway, I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Engineering Sciences, which was another, I don't know, 12, 20 hours, I guess.
What do you remember about? Do you remember any of your classes or anything about academics in Fairchild?
As a 3 degree, not really. I don't. Nothing that stands out.
What happened at Christmas your 3 degree?
Well, you would have to bring that up because we, of course, by then we could go home. But I met this guy by the name of Wayne LaForce from California, and somehow we decided that it would be neat to go out to California and get a hop and go to Hawaii, which we did. So I missed Christmas. I think we were there the whole time because I think I've actually got back to Powell. That when we were in Hawaii, we actually stayed with 3 of my aunts on my dad's side. So it was kind of a
When you had a lot of pineapple.
that was more a first class year. Right?
Did you fly commercial or with a?
No, we flew hops. We went out to Travis Air Force Base and got hops both ways.
You know, remember what kind of plane it was? Was it like with a
Well,
AP-10 or something?
it wasn't even a jet. I mean, in those days, we were flying
What am I trying to say? Like a Cooper or something.
DC-6s and all that, 4-engine props. You know, it was like a 10-hour flight from California just to get to Pearl Harbor.
Imagine flying a prop plane over the.
Were you in netting webbing?
Yeah.
You know, season or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Something.
I guess it was
I think that we tied our heads. We took our scarves off, our flight suits, and you tie your head. So your head would be. Because you'd have a chair.
When you fell asleep, you mean?
Yeah. Your head would kind of tie with the webbing.
They only take some tunes.
So Rachel, that's the Christmas right now that you're in. And then when he did that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, Rachel, what's academics been like for you as a 3 degree?
It's been good so far. People now say that 3 degree year is the hardest year. Everyone has something different to say about that. I think you can't get much harder than just the pressure of being a freshman. But, I this semester took differential equations, core astronomical engineering. I took another astronomical engineering class that was more technical and kind of learning the programs we use for major. And I took French, 400 level class, where we learned a lot about French Polynesia and New Caledonia. Yeah, the islands. And economy, and
A piece of.
I took PE, I took swim and water survival. And no, they took something else too. Leadership.
We call ours, what was it called? PMS, Professional Military Studies.
Yeah.
And it was M5. They've changed the acronym since. I remember taking management. I was one of the only freshmen in the management class, and I actually did pretty much all the readings. And I remember there were 3 degrees in my squadron that were not doing very good. And anyway, I really liked that. Ken Kanicki, I think he went on to be a department chair, actually, of the management department. He was a captain then, but I love that. That's where I read Thomas Kuhn, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, and a bunch of stuff that I, used later in debate for impromptu and just cool theories, which I like that a lot more. But I tested out of too much chemistry, and so I got into the full year of chemistry in a semester, and I think I barely got through that with a C or something. And then that was the end of me being a technical major because I was not. I think, and then I took.
Did you start technical?
Calc 2. Well, no, I just mean if you don't do well, we called it.
Fuzz.
The 241, 243. It was Calc 2. Anyway, if you didn't do good in that, then you weren't going to be moving on. So.
Well, one thing about the academics, and this was Dooley year as well as upper class years, but the academy, number one, they were not graduating, doctors or professional people. They were graduating Air Force officers, so they believed in a broad education. So we had what we called a core curriculum that included 2 years. Yeah, 2 years of math. I think there were 4 years of English, and it was a very, very broad program that Wes.
The core curriculum's still alive and well.
I also took English this year. I forgot to say.
Oh yeah, but you got through math in 1 year, I think, because of
Well, yeah, I just had to take that one because I declared a poli-sci as my major.
Yeah. Okay.
But the core curriculum,
Take calc too.
yeah, the core curriculum is still very much alive and well, and
Yeah.
an important part of the experience.
Well, and which I really, really relish because I mean it, exposed me. Well, and there was also, and maybe as a 3 degree, there was a language requirement. And I think that was.
Didn't you have to take Russian?
Well, there were 4 choices, and if you were leaning more towards the liberal arts, you could take either Spanish or French. But if you were in engineering, your only choices were German and Russian. And for some strange reason, I took Russian. And as I still look back, Russian took me rather than I took it. Because it's a very, very difficult language.
I know what we didn't talk about, and then I'm going to ask everyone what the advice would be for people who are contemplating this journey. Boxing. I think we all did boxing as freshmen. Did you have to box as a freshman?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what do you remember about boxing? I remember Sean Black was the scariest guy ever.
Is he your friend?
Oh, yeah. He became a good friend. He was our squadron commander our whole semester. He is a tough guy, and he was a preppy. But, I mean, and I didn't have to fight him. But that was, I mean, I think Dad had talked about it.
No,
Some people had not been hit in the face. Which been kind of, so they're going to
that was a philosophy of why they had boxing, and the majority of cadets had never been punched in the mouth. So that's what my recollection was just quote the final exam, and it was a 3 1 hour, 1 hour, what?
3 1-minute rounds.
Yeah, just 1
Would
minute.
kill you even
But-
if they're 1 minute.
The guy I was fighting was in my squadron, but he was and then on the football team, he was bigger than I am, and he cold cocked me in the first round, I think, and I was in a daze the rest of the day. And as I recall, that was in the morning, and I had to go to meal formation and finally take a graded review.
On the same day, did you not get knocked out?
I didn't get knocked out, but I got
Hit pretty.
yes.
What do you remember about boxing?
I dreaded it, but it wasn't that bad. It was like kind of fun, but the actual, rounds were like not very fun. But like I boxed this girl who was taller than me, and I remember she had a nose piercing in, and I had to punch her on her piercing, and I imagine it hurt so bad. Then I got hit, and like I kind of really, we could only jab with our left hand up until the last round. But I kind of got really into it and started punching with my right hand. And they were like, Rachel, so do that. It is what it is. It was fine. There was this kid in my squadron who was also in my class, and he got a nosebleed every single time he fought. It was so bad. He bled a lot.
Well, relevant advice, I guess. Just what sort of overall impressions do you have of the freshman year and then 3-degree year?
It was tough. I mean, and I don't think, I probably didn't know as much about, what to expect, but behold, the old adage, take one day at a time, and, was able to get through it. So
I'm glad they don't do the 4-0-96. I remember having to fill that out a lot. And then even in freshman year, having to do a lot of typed forms. There was a guy, I'll say his name, there was a guy named Jeff White, he was I think he was our squadron training NCO. I remember. I mean, I do not know how many freaking forms he made us type. Go to the library and have to type perfectly.
They had typewriter.
Yeah. And then if you had to, and you had to like, do the comments. It was fasting, average, friendly, good. And you had to get the X exactly in the box with the typewriter. Well, this is just such a stupid haze. And then if you had 2 comments, you had to have, if you had 2 questions to comment, there were 2 different boxes. Anyway, I remember finally satisfying him and his attention turned to other people.
We just have a QR code now.
Good. In closing.
Well, and then, concerning athletics, everybody had to participate in one form or another. If you were intercollegiate athletic, and non-season, I mean, you had practice, all 5 days of the week. If you were not in intercollegiate, then you had to participate in the intramurals, and the intramurals were twice a week. Either one week they'd be Monday, Wednesday, and the next week they'd be Tuesday, Thursday, as I recall.
And what'd you play as intramurals? You remember your first couple of years?
Well,
did you play flicker ball?
Because I walked on to the freshman, and I walked on the freshman basketball team, and after that was over, then I walked onto the golf team. So I didn't really do. I don't think I did intramurals at all. And 4 squadrons. So
the best thing that happened to me was the debate team. Tim Kane was our first shirt in First Beast, and he was one of the leaders of the cadet forensics team and told me about that. And so I got to join the debate team. And back then we traveled a lot. And we went to Utah and we went to, all over the Rocky Mountain region. And so how much did we get? I remember for like per diem for a debate trip, we'd get $80 or $120. And that was a lot of money because we only got $60 a month as our pay until we had paid off our debt. And so you'd go on this trip and get advanced $80 or $100 for food. Man, that was awesome.
No, I didn't join the debate team my freshman year, but we didn't travel much. I went on 2 trips, and one was to Denver, so it doesn't really count. And then we didn't also get any per diem or extra money. We were supposed to because you're obviously traveling when you travel on government funding. But I don't remember getting anything. I don't know. It was fun.
But you did virtual, right? They were
COVID really did a number on it, and a lot of turn-ins were still online, using Zoom things, which I didn't enjoy so much, and so I left and quit. And it's been really good for me this year to have that time back to focus on my school and athletics.
And you've done some intramurals this year?
Yes, I've been doing. I did intramural soccer, and we have unit PT. There's true that I see people intercollegiates play their sport, or if you're playing a club sport, you play that, or you do intramurals. But there are other clubs that sometimes, at least last year, used to get you out of intramural.
They have what is it called? Intercollegiate status for.
Yeah. So debate had that,
Right.
but now they're cracking down more. And if you're not in a competitive athletic club, you have to do
It was always a fight to get a debate.
No cadets want to do it. No. And people sometimes throw the game in intramurals or unit PT. We do 20 push-ups and call it good or something.
Right. One last thing I would comment on would be the finances, because in those days, and I still think it's true, but cadets got half of the base pay of a second lieutenant. But back in the 59 to 63 era, second lieutenants were getting $222.30 a month. That was their base pay. So half of that was $111.15. Well, but that went into your account as freshmen, to go to the cadet store. I think we got $10 a month, and then maybe $25 a month as 3 degrees, and then by the seniors, if you had all your debts paid off, you might get closer to 75 to 100. I just don't, but that's when you had a car too, and also. And of course, this is jumping ahead, but only first classmen could have cars in those days. And now
you couldn't have a fire as a tutoring?
No. I don't know when that changed, but just first classmen could have cars.
Well, okay, so that's what I was going to say. What do y'all remember about borrowing cars? I remember after recognition, which for us was in April or May, it was late. I remember Scott Hollister was a senior, and he had a 1979 black Corvette, and he let me borrow it. I drove to Dieter.
You
And it was
crashed?
so fun. No, I didn't crash it. It was awesome. It's the only time I've ever driven a Corvette like that. Did you borrow cars, Dad? Or?
So cool.
If I did, I don't remember it. So
People with the nice cars don't let you borrow them. So most of the time, it's just firsties or seniors that let me borrow their car, especially if it's a bad car. They are easy to give it up. But some people, especially the 2 degrees, since they just got their car, they're not loaning it to anyone yet. I'm like, don't be stingy. Like,
Yeah.
I want to drive. You always got to fill up their tank, though.
All right, there we go. Well, thank you all for sharing your memories and reminiscences. We'll have to do this again later as Rachel has more experiences in the Blue Zoo.
and a more recent knowledge of what went on versus us old guy.